Okay, so this was the best taco I've ever tried in my life. And if you don't believe me, just check out all this footage of me drooling everywhere. I am not exaggerating one bit. This is arguably the most delicious bite of food I have ever consumed. And it's honestly mind-blowing that more people aren't talking about it. The taco that changed my life is from a place called Carne and Su Jugo. They're located in Guadalajara, Mexico. This restaurant has been around since 1976. That's almost 50 years of serving up some of the best tacos in the world. I'm telling you, they really do serve some of the best tacos in the world. As soon as I arrived at the restaurant, I ordered as many tacos as I could eat to try them all out. First up, we have the taco de birria. Now, this is a regional specialty known as meat in its juice. The goat meat just falls apart at the mention of its name. It tastes like a rich, savory pot roast that's been slow cooked for hours on end. The crispy bacon adds a nice smoky flavor and crunchiness to each bite. And then there's the chopped onion and cilantro, which provides a fresh, vibrant contrast to the heaviness of the meat. Overall, this taco was just amazing. The flavors were so complex and well balanced. It was definitely a solid start to my taco tasting experience. But trust me, things were only going to get better from here on out. Next up, we have the taco de carnitas. These bad boys were so tender and juicy, I could literally rip the pork apart with my bare hands. The carnitas were perfectly golden hued and topped with a generous amount of chopped onion and cilantro. These tacos were so delicious. The pork was so succulent and flavorful. It literally tasted like a little piece of heaven in my mouth. Seriously, these were some of the most incredible carnitas I've ever had in my life. And let's not forget about the crispy shell. It was sturdy yet still had a nice crunch to it. The combination of textures and flavors was just out of this world. Moving on, we have the taco de barbacoa. Now barbacoa is a traditional Mexican dish that consists of meat that's slowly cooked in its own juices, typically with cilantro, lime, and onion. The result is a super tender and flavorful meat that just slides off the bone. In this case, the barbacoa was made with beef, and it was absolutely divine. Each bite was like a warm embrace from an old friend. So comforting, so familiar, yet so special at the same time. Honestly, I could have eaten 10 of these tacos and not felt even a little bit full. The flavors were just so rich and satisfying. I loved how the crispy shell added a nice contrast to the softness of the beef. Overall, this was a taco that truly felt like a labor of love. The kind of dish that you can tell was made by someone who takes great pride in their cooking. Next up, we have the taco de canasta. This is a regional specialty known as basket taco. These tacos are actually cooked inside of a giant basket, hence the name. The meat is slow cooked with chopped onion, cilantro, lemon, and beans until it's super tender and juicy. Then it's all piled up inside of a crispy corn tortilla and topped with even more cilantro and a squeeze of lime. The result is a taco that's packed with flavor. The chicken was so moist and succulent. It literally fell apart at the mere touch of my fork. The beans were creamy and flavorful, and the crispy tortilla held everything together beautifully. Overall, this was another standout dish that really impressed me. Now let's move on to something a little different. We have the taco de chapulines. Chapulines are a type of grasshoppers that are actually quite popular in Mexican cuisine. They're typically toasted with lime and chili powder and then sprinkled on top of tacos, salads, or other dishes for a nice crunchy texture and a unique flavor. To be honest, I wasn't really sure what to expect when I tried these. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of bugs or anything, but I was definitely up for trying something new. And boy, am I glad I did. The chapulines were lightly toasted and had a nice crunchy texture. They weren't chewy or crunchy like I was expecting. They had a really unique and interesting flavor that was hard to describe. I think the best way I can put it is a combination of a toasted nut and a sea salt with a hint of smokiness. It was definitely a very bold and adventurous flavor that I wasn't really expecting from a taco. But hey, I'm always up for trying new things, and I'm glad I got to experience this unique flavor. Next up, we have the taco de cochinita pibil. Cochinita pibil is a regional specialty known as marinated pork belly that's slow roasted with a blend of spices including achiote, cumin, oregano, and thyme. The result is a super tender and flavorful pork that just falls apart at the mention of its name. And let's not forget about the pickled onion. It adds a nice tangy and crunchy contrast to the richness of the pork. Overall, this taco was just amazing. The pork was so succulent and flavorful. It literally tasted like a little piece of heaven in my mouth. Seriously, these were some of the most incredible carnitas I've ever had in my life. And let's not forget about the crispy shell. It was sturdy yet still had a nice crunch to it. The combination of textures and flavors was just out of this world. Moving on, we have the taco de pescado. Now, this one was a bit different from the rest of the tacos on our list because it was, of course, a fish taco. But trust me, this was no ordinary fish taco. The fish was super fresh and cooked to perfection. It had a nice flaky texture and a delicious, slightly crispy exterior. The shredded cabbage added a nice, fresh and crunchy contrast to the fish. And the chipotle salsa just took it to a whole another level. It was spicy, tangy and smoky, and it paired perfectly with the delicate flavor of the fish. Overall, this was a very impressive taco that showed off the versatility of Mexican cuisine. Finally, we have the taco de arrachera. Arrachera is a regional specialty known as grilled skirt steak that's marinated in its own juices, chopped onion, cilantro, and lime. The result is a super tender and flavorful meat that's perfect for tacos. In this case, the arrachera was made with crispy bacon and it was absolutely divine. Each bite was like a burst of flavor in my mouth. The steak was so well seasoned and cooked to perfection. It had a nice charred flavor without being overly smoky or bitter. The chopped onion and cilantro added a nice freshness to the dish, and the squeeze of lime just brought everything together. Overall, this was another taco that really impressed me. The flavors were rich and satisfying, and it was definitely a nice change of pace from some of the heavier meat tacos we tried earlier. And that, my friends, was my taco tasting experience at Carne en Su Jugo. I'm still drooling just thinking about it. Out of all the tacos I tried, I would have to say my favorite was the taco de carnitas. The pork was just so succulent and flavorful. It literally tasted like a little piece of heaven in my mouth. But honestly, I couldn't go wrong with any of the tacos I tried. They were all amazing in their own way and showed off the incredible talent of the chef and the staff at Carne en Su Jugo. If you're ever in the Guadalajara area, I highly recommend checking out this restaurant. You are in for a treat. Trust me, the tacos here are some of the best I've ever tried in my life. That's all for now. Until next time, stay hungry and keep eating your vegetables.